Hi, this is Jeff Lovett, and I'm continuing my how-to series this week about how to shoot professional video with your iPhone. What we learned last week was that with a few inexpensive accessories, you can turn this into something that shoots video as good as this. Well, now that you've picked out your tripod, you've got your tripod adapter for your iPhone and your lavalier mic, you're ready to get started. So if you really want to make your videos look like they've been shot by a true professional, you're going to need to learn a few techniques. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, first things first. Don't shoot vertical video. We live in a widescreen world. Your laptop, your television, even your Twitter feed are all on widescreens. So never shoot your videos like this. Turn your phone sideways and shoot horizontally. And here's another one of those things on my don't do list. Don't try to move while you shoot your video. Not unless you own a Steadicam, which uses a series of weights and gyros to keep your phone steady while you move. I have one, it costs about $500 and it's very, very heavy and very hard to work with. So unless you have one of those, I suggest that you put your iPhone on a tripod or hold it very steady when you shoot. Motion looks great when it's smooth, it looks horrible when it's not. Now let's talk framing. This is how you position your subject on the screen. If you want to get a professional look, it's always a good idea not to put your subject in the very center of the frame. To give your video some depth and space, remember to use the rule of thirds. Just imagine that your phone screen has been divided into 9 sections like this. You want to place your subject not in the dead center, but at one of these intersection points. Here's an example of an interview that I recently shot with Melissa June from South Georgia Ballet. Notice how I have her framed in the top right third of the screen. Doing this allows me to also capture the depth of the rehearsal room behind her, which informs viewers where she is and helps separate her from the background. Which brings me to my last point about framing. A common mistake that people make is having their subject stand right up against the wall or the backdrop. Doing this causes your subject and backdrop to blend together, which makes the video look really flat. Move them out away from the wall, and if you throw a little light on the wall behind them, it will really make your subject pop. Regardless of what your video is about, viewers will spend the majority of their time looking into your subject's eyes. So you want to make sure your video has the correct sight line. There are 2 basic sight lines used in most video, directly into the lens and to the side of the lens. So how do you determine which one you should use? Well, the answer to that is pretty simple. Who is your subject talking to? If you're making a direct appeal to your viewer, you should look straight into the lens just like this. This is the most intimate form of visual communication where you're speaking directly one-on-one with the viewers. Just make sure that your iPhone is mounted on a tripod and is positioned at or just slightly above eye level. The other common sight line is what you see in the interviews. With this style, we assume that the subject is answering questions or maybe talking to an interviewer off camera. The subject is looking just slightly to the right or to the left of the camera and not addressing the viewer directly. Now, this method is not as intimate as a direct address to the camera, but treats the viewer as if they're listening in on an intimate conversation, which can often be just as effective. To set this up properly, your interviewer needs to place their head right beside and at eye level with the camera lens. You don't want your subject to be looking too far off axis. This will defeat the effort to create intimacy. In part 1 of this series on shooting video for your iPhone, we discussed the various methods for lighting your videos, so I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but I do want to show you how to position your subject so the lighting method that you do choose is the most flattering. So let's start with natural light from a window. You want to avoid placing your subject in front of the window. The camera will see the bright light and will adjust the exposure, which usually puts your subject in a silhouette. Instead, just switch positions. Put the camera by the window and your subject a few feet back. Now for artificial light, if you're using a single lighting source like this scoop light, I would suggest placing it slightly off center of your subject. This will throw a tiny bit of shadow on the side of your subject's face, which will give them some depth. Now, if you have two lights, place both at 45-degree angles for your subject and move one a little bit closer. This will light your subject evenly, but also give a little depth as well. And if you're fortunate enough to have three lights, you can aim the extra light at either the wall behind the subject or use it for a hair light by raising it up high and pointing it towards the back of your subject's head. Now, this creates a great halo effect around the subject's hair and shoulders, which is very flattering. Okay, so after you've shot your video using all the techniques I've talked about today, it's time to edit your final product. Now, there are some apps that allow you to edit your video right on your phone, like YouTube Capture. Now, that's a great program that I've recommended to a lot of people, but it's very limited in what it can do. My suggestion is that you download your footage and edit it on your computer. There's probably free video editing software already on your computer. Macs have iMovie, PCs usually have Windows Movie Maker. Both are pretty powerful programs and are very easy to learn and use. Just click on the clip you want to use and drag it into the timeline. When you're done, you can easily add music and titles, then upload it onto your YouTube channel. But here's some tips to make sure that your finished product looks really professional. Number one, avoid fancy transitions. Yes, wipes and blurs and fancy dissolves look pretty cool, but you won't see these types of transitions in a Hollywood movie. 99% of the time, professional editors only use cuts. Just line up your clips and go from one to the next. Now, if you have to use that fancy screen flipping flared wipe, do one maybe at the beginning or maybe one at the end of your video, just so get it out of your system. Tip number two, if you're going to use text, keep it simple. No fancy cursive fonts or bright colors. Simple font styles like Arial look best. Black on light backgrounds, white on dark backgrounds. Tip number three, keep your clip short. Your video will have more energy and look better if it's made up of a series of 10-second clips instead of one long 2-minute speech. And my last tip, keep your video short. Most videos on YouTube are under 2 minutes long. Unless it's a training video like this one, most people won't watch anything more than about 2 minutes. So make your point early, make it quick, keep your video short. Okay, that's a 4-year film degree all wrapped up in a 5-minute video. If you want to really shoot great looking video with your iPhone or some other smartphone, you need to practice. Work on getting the light to look good on your subject. Practice framing your shots and learn the basics of using the video editing software on your computer. Just like anything, the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. Hey, thanks for watching my video this week, and if you've missed any of my marketing videos over the last several months, you can watch them all over again or watch them for the very first time by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Just click on the button that'll be on the screen in just a few seconds. And if you have a question for me, just click on the Ask a Question button below, and I'll be glad to come help you shoot a video, set up your MailChimp account for you, write a marketing plan for you, or anything else you might need to get you started in marketing. I hope you'll share today's video with your friends, and I will see you next time.